more than 6 months after investigators say Miya Marcano was kidnapped and murdered by a maintenance worker.
Autopsy report in the murder of Miya Marcano was released tonight. It says the 19-year-old died of homicide by undetermined means and confirms she was the victim of an assault.
This is new video of a man Miya Marcano's family believes is her maintenance man.
The blanket.
Oh my God, that is my blanket.
Let's talk about rejection. I mean, it's never nice to get rejected. I think we can all agree on that. It can make you insecure, hurt your ego, and for some people, it can simply be very upsetting. However, most people tend to get over it. But not everyone. Not Armando Caballero. Instead of accepting his rejection from the sweet and innocent Miya Marcano, he decided to end her life. How was Armando even able to get so close to Miya to hurt her? And did he really go this far over such a simple thing as a rejection? Let's find out. Miya Marcano, born on the 26th of April 2002, grew up with her older brother, Marlon Jr., in Pembroke Pines, Florida. Her mother, Yima Gabriel, described her as a smart person who cannot be easily influenced. For her father, Marion Marcano, a DJ, Miya was a light. Even after her parents' divorce, Miya's relationship with her father and mother remained that of love and affection. She also became very close with her father's new wife. In short, she was everyone's little Princess Mimi. After graduating from Charles Flanagan High School in May 2020, the 19-year-old Miya went to Valencia College, Orlando, Florida. Miya wanted to get a degree in arts and was also interested in sports medicine and physiotherapy. As a responsible person who had just entered adulthood, Miya got a part-time job in a leasing office in Arden Villas Apartments, Orange County, Florida. Miya also got a residence in the villa by a streak of good luck, or so she thought. Life seemed to be going well for Miya after moving to her new apartment. Far away from her family, Miya would often take flights to visit them. Miya was always welcoming to the new people she met every other day. Except one, Armando Caballero. Miya was being romantically pursued by Armando Caballero, a 27-year-old maintenance man at her workplace. The man was weird, obsessive, and a bit aggressive in his approach. Miya rejected him many times, but Armando just wouldn't leave her alone. At work, he would constantly hit on her, and out of her workplace, what followed was a series of obsessive texts. In one of his texts, he even promised to give Miya all his life savings if she agreed to go out with him. According to Miya's coworkers, once Armando deposited $600 to Miya's account, and when she refunded the money, he sent it back again. The man just did not understand the meaning of the word no. It got to the point that Miya had to tell her family about the weird guy. On the 24th of September 2021, Miya had to catch a flight to see her family in Fort Lauderdale. After leaving work at 5 p.m., Miya went to her apartment to pack her luggage. Back in Fort Lauderdale, her family texted her to make sure she had boarded the plane, but she neither replied to their messages nor answered the phone call. Her family did not give it much thought and assumed that her phone might not be working. When her flight was about to land, Miya's family happily went to the airport to receive her. Unfortunately, they came back worried for Miya's safety when they realized that Miya never boarded the plane. Their princess was nowhere to be found. At night, Miya's mother called Orange County Sheriff's Department to request them to go over to Miya's apartment and check on Miya. When Deputy Paulino went there, Miya's roommate brought him inside. When he went to Miya's room and tried to open the door, it was surprisingly unlocked, but something heavy had been placed in front of the door to prevent someone from entering. When he failed to enter the room, he peeked in through one of its windows and was greeted by a sight that shouted "Intruder!" He noticed a mini dresser placed in front of the door. Miya's luggage was packed and jewelry was scattered across the room. Even more disturbing were blood spots on the pillow on Miya's bed. The room clearly showed signs of struggle. Despite the out-of-the-ordinary condition of Miya's room, the officer then left the apartment complex as if he did not find anything suspicious. He didn't even bother to tell Miya's family about his findings. Worried about Miya's safety, her family decided to go to Orlando themselves and check on things. On their way, the parents called the apartment complex's emergency line multiple times to request them to check on Miya, but there was no response from their side. They reached her apartment at 3 in the morning and called the sheriff's office again. They asked them to investigate Miya's room. Miya's family decided to look through her room themselves as well, and they found a yellow box cutter that did not belong to Miya. The only question on their family's mind were, who would try to hurt Miya when she never did anything to hurt others? Well, little did they know, For some entitled people, saying no is equal to harming them. After a while, around 4 in the morning, Armando showed up at the apartment. Armando approached Maya's aunt to have a conversation with her. When her aunt asked him about his identity, he told them he was the maintenance guy and had come there because he heard that they were looking for him. Lies. Maya's family was never looking for him. When confronted about his statement, Armando told Maya's family that Tati, a mutual friend, informed him that Maya was missing. Another lie. Maya and her friends never knew anyone by the name of Tati. Neither did her family know who Tati was. They also confronted Armando about his obsession with Maya. Armando, being interrogated by the police in front of the apartment, told the officers that he had last seen Maya at 3 p.m. that day. Sometime later, the officer present at the scene allowed Armando to go home without further questioning. The officer then left the apartment after telling Maya's family, "If you do not hear from Maya by Tuesday, call us back." Such irresponsible behavior from the cops disappointed Maya's family, especially because the family had a gut feeling that Armando had something to do with the disappearance. They eventually realized that they could not put any hope in the cops, and that they had to take action themselves. Maya's family ended up following Armando to his apartment in the San Jose apartment complex in Winter Park, Seminole County, only to see something that would confirm their suspicions. When Armando got out of his car, he walked into his apartment building carrying gloves, a backpack, and a pink blanket. It was the blanket that belonged to Maya. As soon as her family saw the pink blanket, they called the police, who arrived at his apartment building. They started questioning him, but since they did not have a search warrant, they could not investigate his house. But Armando did allow Maya's family to look through if they wanted. Maya's family members proceeded with the search, but did not find anything suspicious that pointed toward his involvement in Maya's disappearance. Still, Maya's family insisted that Armando is the prime suspect in the case. On September 25th, around 4:30 p.m., the police issued a warrant of arrest for Armando. When they reached his apartment to take him into custody, he was not there. He had vanished. Meanwhile, the investigation discovered some new details about the case. They had made a timeline of what happened when Maya disappeared. On the 24th of September, someone entered Maya's apartment around 2 p.m. using an on-call maintenance key. The same key was then used to enter the apartment again at 4:30 p.m. The owner of the key? Armando Caballero. At 5:06 p.m., Maya used her own key to enter the apartment. It is believed that during this time, Armando attacked and murdered her. He then transported her body to his car and left the apartment complex around 6 p.m. At 7:15 p.m., Armando made a fake maintenance call to Arden Villas and returned to the apartment. He left the complex once again at 7:40 p.m. With this information, the police set up a search team to look for Maya. They searched the woods behind Armando's apartment in Seminole County, the area near Maya's apartment complex in Orange County, in some areas in Volusia County. Meanwhile, Maya's family was doing everything in their power to raise awareness about her disappearance. They posted her story on social media, and soon it gained attention at the national level. This also helped to bring in more volunteers to participate in the search. Maya's story even reached Congressman Darren Soto, on whose request the FBI got involved in the search as well. By the end of September, a total of 30 search teams were out looking for Maya. On Sunday, the 26th of September, Maya's friends and family held a vigil for her. The vigil was attended by hundreds of people. Many did not know Maya personally. While Maya's friends and family were busy with the search, the police did a background check on Armando and discovered that he had a run-in with the police in the past. In March 2021, Armando worked in another apartment complex. There too, he got obsessed with a woman and asked her out. She initially agreed to a date but later declined due to concerns about Armando's aggressive insistence to go out that very night. This was a hard blow to Armando's ego. That same night, he threw a dumbbell into the woman's bedroom through the window. But the record of his criminal offenses went back even further. In 2013, he was arrested for detonating a homemade explosive in a high school as a prank. Fortunately, nobody was hurt, but Armando was given probation for his actions. On Monday morning, September 27th, a 911 call was made to the Seminole County Dispatch. Could this be the call to report that Maya was found? Unfortunately, no. The caller reported that a man had hung himself in their garage. The man was Armando. Afraid of the legal consequences of his actions, Armando committed suicide in an apartment complex in Seminole County. He had chickened out of what was coming next. His death meant that the police had lost their prime suspect, making it difficult to know what happened to Miya. An autopsy showed that there were bite marks on Armando's hands and fingers, showing a possible sign of struggle by someone he was physically attacking. The police checked Armando's phone to track his location and noticed that on the day of Miya's disappearance, he went to Timber Scan between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. and stayed there for nearly 20 minutes. Timber Scan is not the place where one would want to go at night. The area is infamous for crimes ranging from drug dealing to murders. This made the police wonder why Armando was there at night. They started investigating the area and set up a search team there as well. On the 2nd of October 2021 in the morning, Orange County Sheriff announced that in the woods of Timber Scan, near the Lake Condominium's apartment, a decomposed body of a female was discovered. Near the body was Miya's purse that had her ID card. Her wrists, legs, and mouth had been tied with duct tape. She was only wearing jeans, a bra, and a robe. Since the body was badly decomposed, forensic evidence could not be gained, and an autopsy also did not reveal anything. There were signs of assault, but ultimately her cause of death was declared to be homicide by unknown means. The only person who could tell how she was murdered was gone. Miya was laid to rest on October 14, 2021, in Bailey Memorial Gardens, North Lauderdale. She was only 19 years old. Miya's family was devastated to learn the news that she was no longer alive, especially because they had high hopes that she was just missing. Miya's mother, in one interview, said that she doesn't like to talk about her daughter using the past tense. She talks about Miya as if she is still alive and right next to her. So, who is to be blamed in the end? Well, the family blamed both the police department and the apartment complex for their loss. Because if not for their negligence and irresponsible attitude, Armando would still be alive to answer the questions about Miya, and Miya's body could be found earlier. Their attorney also asked Deputy Paulino to resign because he failed to detain Armando, despite much evidence and suspicions. Additionally, Miya's family filed a lawsuit against the Ardenville's complex. They questioned the policy of giving maintenance workers access to the apartments of the residents. If Armando never had access to Miya's apartment, she would be safe in her mother's arms right now. The Ardenville's complex also faced backlash for not carrying out a background check on the people they hire. Ardenville has denied the accusations and claimed that they do check the backgrounds of their potential employees. They also claim that the criminal records presented were not of Armando Caballero, but of someone else that goes by the same name and has the same date of birth. How many of us are buying these baseless and illogical claims? What are the chances of two people having the same name and the same date of birth? The good news is that the apartment complex said that they will be adding another guard to the front gate and will allow maintenance workers to enter apartments of residents only if they have an appointment there. Miya's loving family set up the Miya Marcano Foundation to make sure that her death was not in vain. According to the foundation's website, the Miya Marcano Foundation has a mission to support, educate, and provide resources to families of missing persons while advocating for the protection of students in our most vulnerable population. On June 27, 2022, Miya's law was signed by Governor Ron DeSantis. The law was aimed to increase the safety of tenants in Florida. Among the many measures included in the law, one requires landlords to carry a background check on the people hired by them. Considering all the positive changes brought after her death, it can be said that Miya Marcano was a beautiful person, who not only brought happiness to others during her life, but even after her death. Though she met a tragic end, she unknowingly provided safety, security, and support to many others. What are your thoughts on this case? In your opinion, what should people do when they cross paths with someone like Armando? Do people like Armando need to be locked behind bars, or can they get better with the right help for their obsessions? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.